Exposed. The incredible true story of the heartwarming family behind Gucci's life-changing legacy. Every morning, as the first golden rays of sunrise basked Chicago's skyline, Maya's heart pounded against the rhythm of duty. She stood outside her late father's tailoring shop, a legacy of love, struggle, and unyielding hope. The air was thick with nostalgia and the light danced off the windows of the neighborhood that buzzed with life, its colors vibrantly reminding her of the past. The shop was filled with memories, faded scraps of fabric that whispered her father's spirit and promises to keep the doors open. But rising rents and gentrification loomed over her like a storm cloud, threatening to tear apart the very fabric of her family's heritage. Each morning, Maya inhaled courage, the essence of her father's teachings. Honor, sacrifice, resilience. Her commitment to her children shone like a beacon, a lighthouse guiding her through economic despair. Then one day, while rummaging through the back room, her fingers brushed against something smooth, a dusty antique sewing machine, buried under years of neglect and the weight of expectations. As she wiped away the dust, a surge of warmth embraced her soul, igniting a revolutionary idea that flickered against the backdrop of her struggles. With a heart full of determination and anxiety rippling through her veins, she envisioned a high-end clothing line, a blend of her father's exquisite craftsmanship and contemporary flair. It felt like a dream that could lift them from their encroaching darkness. But doubt buzzed louder than her ambitions. "Are you crazy, Maya?" her neighbors whispered. "You're a single mother, not some fashion icon." Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. It wasn't just the community's skepticism that tormented Maya. Family tensions bubbled beneath the surface. An argument erupted over her newfound ambition, exposing long-buried fears and painful truths about their family's legacy. The shop echoed with the rising voices of her loved ones, drowning out the aspirations fluttering like fragile butterflies in her heart. In that moment of chaos, doubts weighed heavier than ever. Could she balance pursuing her dreams while keeping her family united? Yet even as shadows loomed, hope flickered to life. Neighbors who vowed to support her rallied around, showcasing the spirit of their community. Their love ignited a fire within her. It surged through her, reminding her that sacrifice isn't just about surviving but thriving together. That night, as she worked diligently on her sketches, the sewing machine-s became a soothing symphony of possibility. Just as her designs began to catch the eye of a high-profile influencer who adored handcrafted artistry, a betrayal from within her own circle threatened to ruin everything she valued most as events spiraled out of control. Maya stood at a crucial crossroads, questioning not only her ambitions but the roots of her identity itself. Could love and loyalty be enough to carry her through? Her heart raced. The truth loomed heavy. But with a community behind her and her father's spirit guiding her, she felt the cusp of something profound. Would she find the strength to redefine her dreams and secure her family's legacy? The answer felt tantalizingly close, yet heartbreak hovered like a dark cloud. What would she decide as the curtain lifted on a new chapter in this incredible journey? Maya sat on the floor of the shop, surrounded by crumpled sketches, each one a piece of her heart poured out onto paper. The sunlight filtered through the dusty windows, illuminating the chaos of fabric swatches scattered around her. But what truly filled the room was uncertainty. As she traced the outline of a dress design, her mind raced with the voices of doubt. What if I fail? The questions echoed louder than ever. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and her best friend, Lena, stepped inside with a bright smile that could light up the dimmest corners of the shop. "Maya, look who I brought." Behind her, a tall figure emerged. Javier, the talented influencer she had half hoped would take notice of her work. He walked in confidently, his eyes scanning the mess before resting on her. "Wow, this is the birthplace of magic, huh?" he said, grinning. I want to see what you've got. Maya's heart skipped a beat. She quickly hid the unfinished sketches behind her back, nervous but excited. It's still a work in progress, she said, chastising herself for the rush of insecurity. Javier stepped closer, and she could feel the warmth radiating from him. Progress is where the beauty is born. Let us see what you have. His encouragement washed over her like a warm wave, urging her to rise against her doubts. Taking a deep breath, she retrieved the sketches and laid them out carefully on the floor, brushing off the dust. As he studied them, Maya held her breath. Javier's face lit up with genuine enthusiasm. This is incredible, Maya. You've captured something special here. She felt her shoulders relax, the weight of doubt lifting just a little. But just as praise began to build her confidence, her phone buzzed on the floor beside her. It was a message from her brother, Adrian. The words were sharp and filled with anger. You're wasting your time on some fashion dream. Come back to reality. The sting in her chest was immediate. How could he not see how important this was? Ignore him, Lena whispered, noticing the flicker of pain on Maya's face. Focus on what matters. But Maya couldn't shake off the sharpness of Adrian's words. They cut deeper than she cared to admit, exciting tendrils of doubt creeping back into her thoughts. Why do they all think I can't do this? She murmured, her voice quaking. Javier looked at her with seriousness. Because they don't understand your vision. You have something they can't see yet, but you need to believe in it. That's where real power comes from. For a moment, Maya felt the truth in his words resonating within her, like the soft thrum of fabric beneath her fingers. She had already come too far to turn back now. I can do this, she whispered to herself, determination beginning to build. The community's support had stoked the fire within her. Now it was her turn to fan those flames higher. With a new sense of purpose, she decided to take a risk. She'd invite the neighborhood to an open house, showcasing her designs. They'd see the culmination of toil and dreams. Would they embrace her vision, or would Adrian's skepticism linger? Just as she lay the groundwork for her first steps, the door jingled again. This time, an older woman stepped in, a neighborhood icon, known for her exquisite taste in fashion. Maya's heart raced. This was no coincidence. Dear, I heard about your work. I'd love to discuss, but before she could finish, a loud commotion broke out on the street outside, drawing their gazes toward the window. Maya's heart sank as she recognized the silhouettes of a group of developers, their eyes set on her father's shop. Are they here to push us out? She gasped. Her world swayed. Would this be the moment her fight really began? Or would it signal an ending to everything she dreamed of? The stakes had never been higher, and uncertainty loomed just as heavily as the betrayal at her back. Maya inhaled sharply, awareness settling in. They can't take it from me without a fight, she thought. What would be her next move to safeguard her family's legacy? The answer hung in the air, electric with possibility and fear. Maya clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. She couldn't just stand by and watch as her family's shop, her dreams were threatened. She felt the fire of determination flare up inside her, fueling a fight that had been waiting to awaken. As she turned to Javier and Lena, her mind raced. We need to rally the neighborhood, she said, her voice steady now, filled with purpose. The look on Lena's face was encouraging, but Javier's expression was one of concern. Maya, it's not just a shopping center. They want to raise history, he said, his voice low. But it's not just your battle. You'll need everyone's support around you. She nodded, feeling a wave of warmth at his belief in her. It wouldn't only be her fight. It'd be everyone's. She pictured the faces of her neighbors, the regulars who had turned her father's store into a community hub. They wouldn't let someone take away the heart of their neighborhood without a challenge. Let us get the word out, Lena chimed in, her eyes bright with possibility. We can set up a meeting, organize a protest, maybe even get the media involved. Maya grinned, feeling a surge of hope. Yes, a gathering where I'll showcase my designs and remind everyone what this place means to us. But just as they began brainstorming their next steps, the ruckus outside escalated. The dull roar of voices morphing into shouts was now impossible to ignore. Maya stood up and walked to the window, pulling back the ragged curtain to peer outside. A group of developers stood in a semicircle, their breath mingling with the dust clouds swirling at their feet. They were flanked by men in suits, clipboard in hand, and a few officials scribbling notes. The sight sent shivers down Maya's spine. This was no idle conversation. They were clearly planning to push through their agenda. "Lena, what if we go out there? Show them how we feel," Maya suggested, her heart racing in sync with the hurried whispers of her friends. "Are you sure?" Lena asked, the concern etched across her forehead. "Could get ugly." "Good. We need to show them we're not backing down. This shop is part of our community, a symbol. What better way to rally support than to confront them?" With a determination that surged like a current, Maya pulled on a jacket, her spirit buoyed by Javier's encouraging smile. "Count me in," he said, standing tall beside her. "Ready when you are." Lena took a deep breath, then nodded. "Okay, let us do this." As they stepped outside, the harsh sun greeted them, blinding in its intensity. The noise of the crowd filled her with energy. They wove through murmuring groups, her heart beating wildly. She could feel every nervous twinge course through her as they inched closer to the developers, who were about to make their pitch. Maya reached deep within herself, calling upon the voices of her neighborhood, the laughter, the stories that had built a bond over so many years. This was her moment. Then, she caught sight of Adrian across the street, his face twisted in disbelief. They locked eyes, his stare heavily weighted with the judgment that had chased her for so long. Her heart sank, but she pushed past it, remembering the conviction that ignited her spirit just moments ago. "Look," she whispered to Lena and Javier, "we need to make a statement. I'll speak first." Javier nodded, his expression supportive. But as she took a few paces forward, adrenaline coursing through her veins, she couldn't help but wonder if she was about to emerge as a champion for her dreams or drown in the same fears that had shackled her for so long. Maya inhaled deeply, readying herself to stand against the tide. Would her voice matter in that sudden silence, or would it be swallowed by the louder thrum of greed? Before she could question, the moment arrived, her moment. What would she say? Everything hung in the balance, waiting for the pulse of her courage to crack like thunder amidst the chaos. Maya stepped forward, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. As she stood there, a rush of emotions swirled within her: anger, pride, and an unmistakable thrill of fear. But the urge to protect her family's legacy overwhelmed everything else. She cleared her throat, her voice breaking the silence that had settled like a thick fog over the crowd. "Excuse me," she called out, her words trembling at first but slowly growing more solid. "Amaya, I grew up in this neighborhood, in this very shop where my father poured his heart and soul into every thread and design. This place is as much a part of our history as the bricks and mortar that line these streets." The crowd stirred at her words, faces turning toward her, curious and expectant. She glanced at Lena and Javier, who nodded encouragingly, their eyes shining with confidence she was just starting to find. "This shop isn't just a store," she continued, her voice gaining strength. "It's a gathering place, a community hub, and a testament to our dreams. We've shared moments here, birthdays, celebrations, even tough times. And now someone wants to rip it all away. For what? A shopping center that means nothing to us?" Fingers brushed against her arms as those standing beside her began to clap. It was a subtle encouragement, but one that sent a surge of warmth through her. Maya steadied herself, breathing in the support from her community like a lifeline. The developers shifted uncomfortably, murmurs passing between them as they regarded her with a mix of surprise and disdain. She could feel their incredulous gazes, but she pressed on, refusing to back down. "Look at all of us," she exclaimed, sweeping her arm to encompass the crowd. "We're not just voices in a lawsuit. We are families, friends, neighbors. We deserve a place that reflects who we are. Our dreams, our culture. This shop embodies it all." Her heart swelled, and the applause grew louder, echoing off the nearby buildings like thunder. The weight of Adrian's gaze still lingered, but she faced the crowd, her passion igniting. It was as if, in that moment, all the fears she had held onto were evaporating, leaving only the undeniable truth of her existence. But then someone in the crowd shouted, "What can we do?" A ripple of doubt flashed through her mind. But then she remembered what Lena had said, what they had planned. "We can unite. Let us organize a meeting, gather signatures, stage a protest. Let us show them we are not just a neighborhood, but a force to be reckoned with." More cheers erupted. Maya could see her neighbors' faces light up, inspired and ready to fight alongside her. Hope was alive in the air, mixing with the warm sun hovering above. Yet, just as she felt the swell of victory rise within her, she noticed Adrian stepping forward, his expression conflicted. "Maya!" He called over the crowd, his voice slicing through her moment of triumph. "What if you're wrong? What if this is about progress? What do you really know about business?" The weight of his words hit her like a brick wall. The crowd quieted, tension crackling like electricity. Every ounce of courage she had mustered threatened to falter, and for a brief moment, doubts crept back in. What if he was right? What if she didn't truly understand? "Adrian," she began, her voice softening. But before she could finish, he took another step closer, his eyes earnest. "I'm just saying, change can be good if it means bringing opportunity. You don't have to lose hope." But maybe her mind spun as conversations darted through the crowd. Should she stand her ground or consider his words? Would embracing change mean losing everything she stood for? The crowd held its collective breath, and Maya's heart raced. She had just found her voice, yet now it felt like it was slipping away. In that pivotal moment, one truth struck her: her fight might just be beginning. But how would she respond? Fear coursed through her veins, mixing with determination. The future suddenly felt both vast and uncertain. What would she say next? Would she cling to the past or embrace the possibility of a new way forward? The exchange hung heavy in the air, and all eyes were on her, waiting for her answer. Maya's breath hitched in her throat, the weight of the moment nearly suffocating. She could feel the curious eyes of her neighbors boring into her, their hopes riding on her response. The silence wrapped around her, each second stretching like an elastic band. "Adrian, I get what you're saying," she managed, her voice trembling but steady. "But progress doesn't have to mean abandoning what we love. This shop isn't a relic. It's alive. It's our memory, our connection. What good is opportunity if it erases our roots?" A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, the tension slightly easing as they began to process her words. Maya's heart raced with a mix of fear and exhilaration. She wasn't just speaking for her family. She was voicing the love and history of the entire community. Adrian opened his mouth to respond, but she rushed in before he could speak. "You say change can be good, and maybe you're right. But what if we can evolve without sacrificing our foundation? What if we create new opportunities that incorporate who we are, woven into something beautiful?" The crowd stirred again, hope rekindling like fireflies flickering to life in the twilight. She could see Adrian's conflict reflected in the faces around her. This was what they needed: a chance to build a bridge between the past and the future. "Let us take a step back," she urged, her voice growing more passionate. "What if we invited the developers here not to push them away, but to share what this place means to us? To brainstorm together, find a way to make space for both the new and the old? They might see our perspective." Lena squeezed Maya's hand tightly, and those who had been on the fence began nodding along. "Yeah, we could come together and show them our history. We can be part of our neighborhood's future." Maya watched as the energy shifted. Where once fear and doubt hovered like dark clouds, now sunlight peeked through, illuminating faces filled with resolve. People began to shout out ideas, their voices rising in a chorus of creative solutions. Just as the excitement peaked, Adrian raised his hands, trying to regain control. Okay, I hear you, and maybe it would help to have that conversation. But we need to think about what this really means for everyone involved." Maya inhaled deeply, her mind racing. She wanted to focus on the moment's possibilities but felt the urgency of the stakes. "Let us make a plan. We can draft a petition for a community meeting. I want to see a future that includes everyone's dreams, not just a handful of investors. The crowd erupted into cheers again, a collective sense of empowerment vibrating in the air. Maya felt her spirit lift, her worries easing just a little. She was ready to make her voice heard, to turn dreams into action. But amid the joy, a sliver of doubt crept into her mind. Was she ready for what this fight would entail? What if the conversation didn't go as she hoped? What if they were all just dreaming, and the developers had already made up their minds? As the crowd began to disperse, talking animatedly about the next steps, Maya turned to Adrian. What do you really think? Can we convince them? He hesitated, his brow furrowed in thought. It'll be tough. But if enough people show up and speak up, if we present a united front, we might just have a shot. A chill swept through her at the thought of failure, but she pushed it aside. She had her community behind her. That thought kindled a kind of fierce determination within her. As they began to finalize a date for their meeting, Maya knew their battle was far from over. The foundations had been laid, but the real fight still lay ahead. What would it take to keep their beloved shop from fading away? And hidden within that question was something else. What impact would the voices of family, love, and heritage have on the future they were stepping into? In this moment of chaos and hope, she stood at the precipice of change, wondering if she had the strength to leap. Maya woke the next morning with a renewed sense of purpose. The events of yesterday echoed in her mind, and the weight of the expectations felt lighter, almost buoyant. It was as if the energy of the crowd had infused her with new strength. She sat up in bed, sunbeams spilling through the window, illuminating the faded photographs of her family that lined her nightstand. There was her grandmother, standing proudly in front of the shop, a vibrant smile on her face. The shop was more than just a building. It was a family legacy. It held memories of laughter, warmth, and love, and Maya wanted nothing more than to preserve that for future generations. She could picture her grandmother's reaction if she were here today. "Never give up, Maya," she imagined her saying, the familiar lilt of her voice sweet in her memory. Maya grabbed her phone and jumped onto social media, typing quickly and with purpose. "Tonight at our meeting, we'll be discussing our legacy and crafting our future." She hit send and instantly felt a rush of excitement. In her mind, she could see the faces of her neighbors, familiar and caring. More than just friends, they were family. The world outside seemed alive as she made her way to the shop. The air was laced with the scent of fresh coffee from the cafe next door. People exchanged hellos and smiles, sharing snippets of their lives as they passed by. Maya felt a warmth in her chest. They were all connected in this small corner of the world. They each carried a piece of their shared history. When she arrived at the shop, the familiar creak of the door greeted her like an old friend. The interior was cozy, filled with memories tucked into every corner. The shelves held trinkets and treasures from years gone by. Each item told a story of the families who visited, laughs shared over cups of tea, and advice exchanged while shopping. Adrian was already there, rearranging some of the displays. "Morning, Maya," he called out, a smile breaking through his usual seriousness. "I'm really glad to see you. I think the meeting is going to be big." Maya nodded, her heart fluttering with hope. "I've been thinking a lot about our pitch. We need to show them why this place matters. It's not just another building. It's part of our identity." "Exactly," Adrian replied, his eyes lighting up. "If we can show them that it's not about pushing us out, but bringing everyone along, they might actually listen." As they prepared for the meeting, more community members began to trickle in. Each person carried their own passion and stories, fueling Maya's belief that they could achieve something monumental together. She noticed Lena bringing a collection of photographs from the shop's history. "These will make a powerful statement," she said, her voice bubbling with excitement. The room filled with lively chatter as people shared their thoughts and emotions. Maya looked around, feeling a swell of pride. This community was ready to fight for what they believed in. But then, as they all gathered to start the meeting, her stomach knotted again with worry. What if their voices were lost in the wind? What if the developers turned a blind eye to their pleas? Taking a deep breath, Maya stepped to the front. Everyone, can we please come together? I want each of you to share why this shop means so much. Our voices are our power. And just as she finished speaking, the door swung open, and a figure entered, one that made her heart drop. It was one of the developers, holding a sleek briefcase, his expression unreadable. Maya's breath caught in her throat. Was he here to listen or to deliver a verdict? This hour, poised between hope and dread, could define their future. What would happen next? Could they really change his mind? Maya's heart raced as the developer stepped into the room, breaking the comforting bubble of camaraderie that had formed among her friends and neighbors. A silence fell, thick and heavy, wrapping around them like a fog. All eyes shifted to this newcomer, a stranger in a place that had known so much laughter. "Good evening, everyone," he said, his voice steady. It didn't carry the warmth of their community but instead felt cold, clinical. "I'm here to discuss the potential redevelopment in this area." He opened his briefcase, revealing sheets of documents and glossy images of sleek, modern buildings. Maya inhaled sharply. This was what they dreaded. She glanced around. Even Adrian looked tense. The hope they built up seemed poised on a knife's edge, ready to topple over at one wrong word. "Listen," she interjected, stepping forward. "Before you show us your plans, can we share something with you? This shop, it's more than just a building. It's a home for generations." The developer paused, raising an eyebrow. Was there a flicker of interest in his eyes? Lena jumped in, clutching the old photographs like sacred relics. "My grandmother used to bring me here every Saturday. We would select the perfect gifts for our neighbors. This shop isn't just a store, it's a memory, a connection." Several voices joined in, each story telling their own piece of history: a first date, a grandmother's favorite tea, laughter shared over holiday decorations. With each word, Maya felt the weight of their shared legacy press firmly against any doubt. The developer's expression remained unchanged, but Maya pressed on. "Imagine a future where this shop stands proudly amidst new developments. It can bridge the gap between the old and the new, honoring our past while embracing progress." They shared anecdotes, laughter, and even a few tears, painting a vivid tapestry of community life. The excitement built within the room, amplifying her belief that they could change the tide. But just as they seemed to gain momentum, she caught the developer's gaze, and he looked back at his notes, smirking slightly. "Let us be realistic," he shot back. "Redevelopment brings prosperity. We've pored over the plans and determined this area can support modern amenities, which means change." His certainty dripped with indifference, igniting a fire within Maya. "Prosperity?" She snapped back, her voice rising. "What does that even mean if it comes at the cost of our community? You might see numbers and buildings, but we see stories and future generations." But just as the tension thickened, a commotion stirred outside the shop. The crowd outside had grown, curious neighbors peeking in through the windows. Maya glanced over, hope igniting as she recognized a familiar face stepping forward. It was Mr. Thompson, a retired schoolteacher, his hands raised high, a determined look on his face. His voice boomed as he shouted, "We will not be silenced. This isn't just a fight for a building, but for our home, our families." A palpable wave of energy surged through the room. Maya felt her heart race again, this time with a sense of unity and urgency. If they could rally the community, they might have a chance. "Maya, we can't let them dismiss us," Adrian urged, stepping beside her. "We need to make a final stand. Let us show him what we're truly made of." The developer visibly shifted, his confident facade faltering as he realized the growing crowd's energy was ready to explode. As they rallied behind her, Maya's voice rose above the din. "Together, we can save our legacy. Let him hear our stories." But just then, the developer turned to leave. "You'll have a chance to voice your opinions at the city council meeting next week," he said dismissively. Every heart sunk at the vaguely threatening dismissal. They were being shipped off, the reality of their situation hitting her like a ton of bricks. Maya clenched her fists. Next week felt far too late. With a fire igniting deep within her, she called out, "This isn't over." We will fight for our legacy until the very end. As determination surged through her, familiar fear crept back into her mind. Was their passion enough to change his heart? Would their voices still ring true when the meeting happened? In that moment, one thing was clear. The fight had just begun, and deep down Maya wondered, could they truly make the world listen? The sounds of the outside crowd grew louder, filtering into the shop like a gust of wind breaking through a crack in a door. Maya could feel their energy, their determination blending with her own. She turned to Adrian, a sense of urgency in her voice. We need to organize. We can't just sit back and wait for the meeting next week. We need to gather everyone while the momentum is here. Adrian nodded, his eyes bright with the same fire she felt in her chest. Let us call a community meeting right away. We'll invite everyone, the whole neighborhood. If we show them how much this place means to us, maybe we have a real shot. With a flick of her wrist, Maya pulled out her phone, quickly typing out messages to as many friends and neighbors as she could. In just a few minutes, her thumb ached, but it was worth it. Each ping of a reply sent a rush of hope through her veins. They were responding, rallying together. The developer stood in the corner, a silent observer now, his attentive gaze unnerving. When Maya caught his eye again, their stares locked for a moment, and she felt a wave of defiance surge within her. This wasn't just a disagreement. It was a fight for her community, the people she loved. Maya, I have an idea. Lena piped up, a sly smile spreading across her face. What if we create a photo campaign? Show the world what this shop means to us. We can take pictures of ourselves with our favorite memories tied to this place. We could post them online and get the whole neighborhood involved. Maya grinned. That's brilliant. We can share our stories, make it personal. Show them the truth about what this shop really is, beyond a series of numbers on a page. Encouraged by the excitement swirling in the room, Maya gathered her neighbors, urging them to think back and share their cherished memories. A tapestry of tales unfolded in joyful laughter and misty eyes, a couple's first meeting over coffee, a child's birthday celebrated with balloons. The dozen traditions sprung from the old brick structure. Each story rekindled the thread of their shared history, stitching them closer together. The urgency grew as they snapped photos, capturing those poignant moments. Maya felt the weight of their history and the hope of a future collide in a powerful embrace. But in the depths of her heart, uncertainty loomed. Would this be enough to sway opinions? Outside, the crowd roared with support, and the passionate chants seeped into the shop, wrapping around her like a blanket. Save our shop, they yelled, voices rising. This was more than a shop. It was an embodiment of who they were. As she scrolled through the photos, almost lost in the myriad of emotion, Maya caught a glimpse of Mr. Thompson shaking hands with some of the elderly neighbors, whispered words of encouragement flowing between them. Her heart soared, yet the looming city council meeting hung in the back of her mind, the clock ticking down to the confrontation that would determine their fate. Once the photo campaign was finished, Maya felt a swell of possibility. We'll post these online and create a hashtag, something that shows just how meaningful this place is. With agreement in the air, hope lit up their faces. Yet, doubt crept in as she asked herself if this could change anything at all. Could they truly make the city council see their worth? As night fell, they gathered their makeshift campaign full of love, laughter, memories, and a fierce determination that could shatter glass. But would it be enough? Would the developer, with his cold, clinical views, truly hear their voices? As the group prepared to launch their efforts, Maya took a deep breath and declared, "Tomorrow, we go to the council with everything we've got." But the echo of her own words filled her with a lingering question. Would courage be their shield against the indifference of progress? Or would it just be a fleeting moment in a world moving too fast to care? The sun broke early over the neighborhood, its rays casting a warm glow through the shop's windows. Maya stared at the clutter of photos and memories they had created the night before. The images, vibrant and filled with laughter, felt like a potent weapon against the impending storm. She hoped they could tap into the heart of the council. Adrian arrived early to help set up, bringing coffee and a sense of calm. "Ready for today?" he asked, voice steady but a hint of excitement in his eyes. Maya nodded, though the weight of anxiety pressed against her chest. I think so. I just wish I knew it would be enough. Remember, we're not just fighting for a building. We're fighting for a community. Adrian's words hung in the air, filled with conviction as they prepared. More neighbors joined them, each carrying hope in their expressions. Mr. Thompson shuffled in, clutching a framed photo of him and his late wife sitting at the shop's counter. The very image that sparked nearly a decade of memories. Good to see you all. This place brings us together, doesn't it? He said with a gentle smile. Maya felt the warmth from everyone's shared determination. It was contagious. They arranged the photos on a display board, each one telling a story, creating a narrative they hoped would resonate with anyone who laid eyes on it. Okay, everyone, Maya said, calling them in for a quick huddle before heading out. Let us remember why we're here. We have a chance to change things for the better. When they look at our memories, I want them to feel what we feel. This shop belongs to all of us. The chorus of affirmations brought a rush of adrenaline. The group gathered their supplies and headed down to the city council building, the energy between them palpable. As they walked, the murmuring crowd grew larger. People from the community were showing up in numbers. The roar of support filled Maya with determination. But as they arrived, her heart sank at the sight of the developer, casually assessing the crowd. He chatted with a few officials, then turned his attention to their makeshift display. The contrast between the warmth of their memories and the cold professionalism that surrounded him felt like a tidal wave. Maya took in a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. The council chamber loomed ahead, a place filled with hard steel and harsh lights where dreams often flickered out like candle flames. She spotted the board with their photos as the council members began to take their seats. Each click of a pen felt like a countdown. Are we ready? Adrian asked, placing his hand on her shoulder. Ready or not? Maya whispered, hoping to mask her trepidation. The doors swung open, and one by one, they stepped inside, their hearts pounding in unison. Rows of empty chairs faced them, a stark reminder of how much was at stake. As they approached the front, Maya felt the energy shift in the room. The community members lined the back, watching intently, their collective anxiety palpable. She stood at the podium just as the mayor's voice boomed through the chamber. Let us hear from the community, he said, gesturing for Maya to begin. Maya's breath hitched. She wasn't just a shopkeeper now. She was the voice of everyone who loved this place. She took a step forward, heart racing, and began to share their stories. But as she spoke, doubt flickered in the corners of her mind. Would they listen? Or would her words disappear into the sterile walls surrounding them, lost in the shuffle of bureaucracy? Each story, each face in the room, sparked something within her. And as Maya's voice grew steadier, she could feel the emotions awakening, igniting like kindling. She poured her heart into the words that flowed from her lips, weaving together the tapestry of their shared history. Yet, as the first unsubtle murmurs of dissent rippled through the chamber, a chill gripped her. Will I be strong enough to fight this? She wondered, even as her voice rang out clear and true. As she approached the heart of her speech, the silence hung like a curtain, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest battle was still ahead. Would this moment shift the tides? Or would it all come crashing down? And as those thoughts danced in her mind, another harsh prompt from the developer pierced the air like lightning. What proof do you have that your memories matter? The room swayed, and Maya felt the doubt seeping through once more. But she clenched her hands, grounding herself. How would she respond? Maya felt her heart race, blood pounding in her ears as she faced the skeptical gazes of council members and the developer. Could she find the words to respond? The silence felt deafening, pressing on her like a weight. She had to remember why she was standing there, what was at stake. Memories are the foundation of who we are, she started, her voice gaining strength as she rested her hands on the podium. These aren't just photographs. They are our stories, our lives woven together. Each one represents a moment that makes our community whole. This shop is not simply a store. It's a place where dreams were born, where generations found love and laughter. Faces flickered in her mind, their excitement and joy as they shared their lives within those walls. What good is progress if it erases that? If you want proof our memories matter, just look around, look at the love and support standing right beside me. The clamor of her neighbors swelled behind her, their voices erupting in cheers and applause, a bold wall of support that reverberated through the room. She glanced at them, an unbreakable chain of unity standing together against the tide of change. But the developer wasn't swayed. That's all nice and sentimental, but business is about profitability. We need to think about what can bring in revenue. His words pierced through the atmosphere like ice, and the crowd murmured in response, the optimism hanging by a thread. Yet, Maya felt a spark within her, a promise she was willing to keep, not just for herself, but for everyone around her. Profitability should not come at the cost of our homes and hearts, she replied fiercely, determination rising within her. This community deserves a voice, one that respects our past and embraces our future. I propose a collaborative approach, one where developers and community members can be part of the same vision. She could see the glimmer of interest flicker in a few council members' eyes while the air swirled with anticipation. What if we work together on a project that honors our history while still accommodating modern amenities? We need to create spaces that celebrate our identity, not erase it. As Maya finished speaking, the crowd surged with applause, and she felt an overwhelming rush of adrenaline. The claps were a drumbeat of hope, pulsing beneath her skin. She had not only voiced her thoughts but ignited a fire within her community. Adrian clasped her shoulder tightly, freeing a warm smile at her side, his eyes glimmering with pride. "You did it, Maya," he whispered. Just then, Mr. Thompson stepped forward. "We all have stories, but we also want a future. We're ready to fight for it. Let us show them how preserving our past can build a better tomorrow." His words rallied the collective spirit of those gathered, drawing their focus back to the heart of the matter. Maya felt the weight of insecurities lift as they listened intently. The council members exchanged doubtful glances, but this time, unease flashed across the developer's face. "Let us consider the community's proposal," the mayor finally said, his brows furrowed. "But don't mistake this for a guarantee. The future must be discussed." Maya took a deep breath, determination roaring like a flame within her. "Thank you, that's all we're asking, for a chance to collaborate. Real growth can honor what's already here, fueling a vibrant future." The energy in the room shifted. The whispers echoed a hesitant hope. Maya could hear snippets of conversation, people who were once indifferent now engaged in discourse about what saving the shop could mean. That night, as she returned to the shop, vibrant memories kept flooding her mind. The ambience shifted. Instead of the stench of disappointment from before, hope hung heavily in the air, filled with possibilities. No matter the outcome, her voice had been heard, and with it, a sense of pride swelled within her and her community. Maya glanced at the sewing machine, the heartbeat of her family history, and held on to the thought of creation, each stitch representing a thread of resilience, weaving through struggle into the fabric of continuity. Over the following weeks, conversations bloomed. The council meetings involved shared visions of future developments that blended the old with the new. Community forums gathered laughter, stories, and vibrant dreams, feeding on the collective passion to preserve their legacy. As they worked together, Adrian smiled wider each day, joined by the shared laughter of neighbors who once felt divided. The atmosphere pulsed with a new era igniting at their feet, increasingly ready to embrace change without losing grip on who they were. Maya's journey brought her closer to not just herself but the community she cherished. And one sunny morning, when she opened the doors to the shop, the vibrant energy felt nothing short of a new beginning. Now, as the sun cast warm colors across the well-loved walls, a new set of photos lined the displays. Smiling faces, joyous moments, and a legacy preserved were captured, intertwining their past with possibilities. Maya knew their roots would remain strong, and the seeds for a flourishing future had been planted. They were united, they were whole, and they were ready to embrace whatever came next with open hearts. With that, she took a deep breath, her voice clear and filled with confidence. Together, We'll create a legacy of love that celebrates our history and paves the way for brighter tomorrows. And in that moment, she knew for certain hope was alive, and it wouldn't be dimmed. If you loved this incredible journey and transformation, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It makes a huge difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second.